You're resting in the chair with your eyes closed, and you may notice your eyes, even wish to open them from time to time. And that's fine, because I really wouldn't want you to not go into a trance too quickly. So much easier simply to allow that feeling in a shoulder, in a hand, to continue as you listen to the sounds of my voice, the sounds in the room, the sounds outside the room, other voices, other rooms, while you pay close attention to the changes in an arm, a hand, and wonder if you are going to be able to go into a trance, while your conscious mind has already begun to drift down, to let go for a time, allowing the body to relax the mind, to relax with it, without knowing at times how much more comfortable you really can become. And sooner or later, everyone's had the experience of falling asleep while watching television, paying close attention to the storyline, just closing the eyes a moment to rest quietly, hearing the music, listening to the voices, in that comfortably relaxed way. When a word or a phrase reminds you of a particular memory, and you drift, dream away for a time, come back to the words again, drift, dream away again, until the words and the music become a soothing sound in the background of the mind, just for a time, and the unconscious mind continues to hear everything of importance to you, while the conscious mind may not notice that you need not listen to everything I say, because you've known all along how much easier it is to learn something when you're relaxed. Though I wouldn't want you to relax too deeply at first. So much more important for you to recognize the small changes, tiny changes, barely noticeable, happening in your breathing, in your pulse, in the relaxation of the face, in a feeling of comfort, security. Because your unconscious will choose to relax your little finger before those feelings begin in a thumb. Or perhaps your wrist will be the handiest place to begin relaxing. But the conscious mind can enjoy being curious about exactly where those feelings will begin. If you drop a pebble into a pool of water, the water flows in ripples on the surface, but just below the surface of awareness, the pebble drifts down. And as that pebble drifts down, past the water animals, drifting down past the water plants, gently floating down, nothing is disturbed as it slowly comes to rest on the bottom of the quiet pool. Even the surface ripples become slower and quieter, and beneath the surface, all is still, calm. And you could recognize your ability to relax and comfortably reflect upon your problems in a certain way, remembering those times when you were sure things were one way, and they turned out to be something else entirely. Perhaps as a child, learning that library is really library, or telling the difference between feet and feet, changing old beliefs, learning new meanings, new ways of doing things. And I wonder if those new feelings, those hypnotic feelings, will stay the same or continue to deepen even more as you try to remember everything I've said to you about those TV dreams and pebbles that drift down, sometimes more quickly, sometimes more slowly. There are some plants that find it easier to survive a drought because they have deep roots burrowed down into the soil, down where it stays damp and moist, even when the ground is hard and dry. But most grasses have shallow roots, fine roots that go down just below the surface. So they dry out when the rains stop and are unable to get nutrients, the things they need to stay alive. Because once the nutrients stop flowing in, the growing stops as well, and the dying starts, just like any living tissue, which is why you loosen a tourniquet once every 3 or 4 minutes at least, and let the blood flow through again to nourish the cells and to take away the wastes, even though it may mean that the bleeding starts again. Because we all have lots of blood, and we can stand to lose a bit, but we can't stand to block the flow of those things needed very long. And the marvel of it all is that we can donate to each other. We can give each other what we need and never miss it at all. The way a plant with deep roots can give us moisture even in a drought, while shallow-rooted grass becomes dry and rough and tends to catch on fire, like the grasslands of California, where fire is always a hazard. But it is a different state of mind to be in a place where you can play and enjoy the sea breezes in the fertile valleys that are so close to the ocean, but still need to be irrigated so that the ground can support the gardens that feed an entire nation and provide the fruits we enjoy in the winter months. So much food, they could never eat it all. So they don't need to hoard it. They can share it, sell it, and reap great profit in return. Because no one would say they should just give it all away, because they need to save some, just for themselves. And they need to get something out of it, just for themselves. But they seem to be very proud of all they provide for others, things from deep inside, the center of that state. And the more taxes they pay, the more they know they earned that day. But nobody likes withholding money just to throw it away, with no return on their investment. So sometimes they put it away, deep in vaults in the biggest banks, to keep it safe for later. the way a snail hides in a shell, protected and yet available, ready to come out again when the rains return and the soil softens and the nutrients flow rich and deep. And so, before you allow yourself to drift up completely into conscious, wakeful alertness, it may be useful for you to utilize the time now to think about what you've experienced, the thoughts, images, understandings, and how you might use these later on, from one day to the next. Because you have an unconscious mind, and you have a conscious mind, and those two minds can learn from your experiences today some things you can utilize to deal more effectively with those things that have been problems for you before. And so, before you continue to drift up into conscious awareness, normal wakeful awareness, it is your privilege to use this comfortable self-awareness to become more aware of those things you can use later on. Those learnings, abilities, and skills you may have overlooked before, to give you a new view of the possibilities for a new way of thinking and feeling and doing things. That's right. Take some time now, a brief time that seems to be a long time, to review and plan, at some level of awareness, those things you will do later on, those things you may change later on, as you begin to use more and more of you. You can use that time now, because in a few moments from now, when you drift up and awaken, it may be interesting for you to know that in that drifting, relaxed state of mind, where thoughts drift by like dreams, that enter awareness for a time, and drift through the mind, while some are left behind to be utilized later on, and others are remembered, or seem to be remembered at first, but then become more and more distant, forgotten over time, and the entire experience can seem so far away, as your unconscious mind protects the conscious mind and leaves those things behind, forgotten but remembered too. And time changes too, so you can know what a trance it's been when you begin to know that what seemed to take a short time turns out to have been a long time, or what seemed a long time was really no time at all. So for now, as the unconscious mind allows the conscious mind to become more aware of sounds in the room, the sound of my voice, the sensations in an arm, a leg, the variety of thoughts and feelings as the conscious mind drifts up, and conscious, wakeful awareness returns quite completely now. Up to the surface of wakeful awareness, restfully refreshed, comfortably awake, even as the mind drifts up completely and the eyes are allowed to open now. That's right, eyes open. And wakeful awareness returns quite completely now.